Tesla's retail investors aren't just passionate, they're some of the sharpest minds in the game. Today, we're diving into some of their biggest ideas, including one from Tesla bull Galileo Russell, better known as Gali, who first suggested that Tesla invest $5 billion into XAI back in July 2024, with Elon replying, saying that the idea is interesting. Gali was also the first retail investor to ever join a Tesla earnings call and even interviewed Elon Musk on the legendary Third Row podcast. Let's take a look at how ideas from Tesla's own investors could help shape the company's next big chapter. Gali is the founder of Hyperchange, a financial talk show, and now running HyperGuap, a venture capital fund. Welcome, Gali.
Thanks, Herbert. Great to be here. Tesla stock's pumping, so vibes are high.
Yeah. Well, you are the OG. You've been around being one of the original people that was, and at that time, defending Tesla. And just a handful of people like you, talking about Tesla and explaining the story. You followed the company for quite a long time, and now we're here. So is this the dream that eventually is coming to fruition? I know we're still at the very beginning, but there's that where you were and where we are now. Can you just explain that journey that you've been through?
I mean, the only thing on my mind is I wish I had more Tesla shares. That's all. That's been my sentiment for the past 10 years or more, and it continues to be my sentiment more than ever. Is why am I wasting time on my other investment ideas? I've made that mistake so many times, and I'm always like, I should just be focused on Tesla. I should just be focused on Tesla because it's a once in 100-year company, potentially, starting out public so early. Elon Musk, I've been calling him Leonardo da Vinci or da Musky because how he's similar to what Leonardo da Vinci did with all these inventions, but he's actually commercializing them, and the ability to invest alongside the world's smartest and most productive engineer entrepreneur in his prime. He's only 50 with another few decades to go. I mean, they're going to look back on the returns that we made as Tesla investors, and they're not even going to think it was cool or hard. They're going to be like, oh yeah, you just invested with Elon Musk. Obviously that was the move. Like, but now it seems, it's not as obvious, but that's my high up view of Tesla. And FOMO, I'm more bullish than ever. I've been following them for 12 years, and I'm literally like sitting here today, like they're going to be bigger than I ever thought.
I mean, to us, it sounds like it's very obvious, but to many people, they are just don't understand the Tesla story, don't understand the risk. They just don't believe that they call them stories, right? AI one day, sure. Robots one day, sure. AI, electric vehicles one day, sure. How did you kind of, obviously you hit that head on, you and Omar, Kristen, one of the early ones, just battling the Tesla Q. Why is so much Tesla Q? And are they more now? Or are they less now? Are they gone?
Let's rewind a little bit. What you said, I think there is interesting, is how did we know Tesla was crushing it so early on? And one thing that I remember looking at was social media data. Like the Facebook pages, back when it was Twitter pages, the YouTube pages of Tesla versus Mercedes versus BMW versus Ford. I would track that and say, wait, Tesla's spending $0 on advertising, but they're having like 10,000 people like and interact with their posts. Ford is spending billions and they have like 200. Like something is going on here. And I think that's been a symbol of Tesla from the get-go, is very grassroots community, retail investors, totally non-traditional way that the company has gotten to where it is. And I just feel like it's, for that reason, it's always seemed like a very unconventional kind of company. It's never been obvious. I mean, for so long, we were investing in a company that was a car company that notoriously have horrible margins. Tesla had even worse margins because they were growing and unprofitable, selling electric cars, which had even worse margins than gas cars. And so why would you pay a price sales multiple premium? How are they going to make money? And then to watch them go, it was almost such a crazy swing, such a crazy juxtaposition from like low margin, crappy car company to like now see them as this high margin robotics play. Total transformation that I think you have to be like, we just hadn't seen anything like it. So I try and constantly remind myself that with Tesla is like, keep your mind open, because just because everything has played out in the past a certain way does not mean it's going to play out in the future that way.
And then what do you think of it today? There's still, of course, haters, especially the media, especially now that Elon got heavily into politics. That reared its ugly head at the beginning of this year. You can read that statement any way you want. But, it's a fault is on both sides, I think. But where do you think that Tesla is today in terms of sentiment?
I think it's swinging back to positivity. I would say there's a loud minority of Tesla haters with the political stuff, but deep down, I believe, I'm in Seattle, you're in the Pacific Northwest, literally the only state that went more blue during the US presidential election. I would say like we're in the most liberal state, probably the most liberal city in America, Seattle. And I know my best friend just bought a Tesla last quarter. My brother-in-law just bought a Tesla last quarter. My girlfriend's parents are all are looking into buying Teslas. So I actually think there's been no such thing as bad press, which it hit me like in the middle of this political thing, is I was like, you know what? Now everyone who had never heard of Elon is like, oh, he's the Trump billionaire guy. And, that got a wave. And so everyone's hating on Elon for that. But it's like, that's not really the truth. The truth is this guy's an amazing engineer and inventor who made the most American best car ever. And that's the truth. And that's going to get the word out because now everyone's talking about Tesla. Everyone's scrutinizing Tesla. So I actually think a little bit of no such thing as bad press has happened, where when you think car, you almost think Tesla now. And that is priceless, at least in America. And so not to mention like places like China where they don't care at all and Teslas are flying off the shelf and they're crushing it there. So I think the pendulum is swinging back. I think Elon Musk is going to go from being, I don't know how he's even perceived now because I'm so deep in this, but he's going to be the self-driving guy. I think that's going to be the next wave of he's the guy who invented the self-driving car. Teslas can drive themselves. No other car can that I can buy. This is different. That gets me excited. And I almost get excited when people bring up Tesla as hating on it because it's like, what are we hating on? Like, because they're made in America, because they have like 4 or 5x the MPG equivalent of the Prius that we were all so hyped about that was the green car. So, as an OG tree hugger climate fan, I'm so pumped that Tesla's been this successful. And I think the craziest part to me is coming to the realization that they are still in the very early innings of their disruption. Self-driving car, way bigger than the electric car. Yeah. Optimus, even bigger than that. So even though it looks big, Tesla's still a startup. I see the momentum going positive. I see Elon getting out of politics, which is probably good for the fact that Elon's more focused on the company, and we can talk about the shareholder vote in a minute, it's all kind of coming together. So feeling good.
What about the Tesla Q crowd? Because that's who you talk. You talked to more Tesla Q back then than you did Tesla bulls. Are they still around? No. And what is their thesis? And
not a single person who debated me on Tesla continues to do it. At least back when I was, because they've all been so wrong for so long. So there's just a new cycle of like Tesla haters that come up because it'll literally break you as a person to bet. It's just the whole idea of betting on people to fail. That kills me. That's why it's like Tesla Q. I haven't even said Tesla Q in years. I haven't thought about Tesla Q. They tried to ruin my life, but it's like, why would I spend time thinking about people who are negative? You get one life. You can be positive or negative. People who just hate and tear things down are not worth my time, and I don't care what they think. Like, I don't know. And maybe, and I'm trying to think, it's like, you want to be critical of your companies you hold and analyze your investments and say what could go right, what could go wrong. But this whole idea of I'm Tesla Q or company Q, which is the bankruptcy symbol on a company, which means I'm manifesting this to go bankrupt, is you're creating an echo chamber in your head to analyze every piece of news as a negative occurrence. So then you lose track of what's actually happening. So what do I think of the haters? There's always going to be haters. The more disruptive, the more good you're doing, the more progress, the more change you're creating, the more haters you will have. And that is why Elon and Tesla have the most haters, because they're the most hyper change company. They're doing the best. They're creating the most value. They're making the most change. Elon's going to be the most remembered person from this era as the world's most impactful human. And so obviously, if you're in the thick of the world's most impactful human making a bunch of big changes, like, I would even say it's remarkably calm and tranquil for the amount of changes that Elon Musk and people bring to society. But, you walk out, everything's kind of normal and chill. So it's easy to get lost in the internet echo chamber of haters. But yeah,
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I mean, given the magnitude of the change that Elon and Tesla is doing, and every energy, you're fighting oil and gas. Now it's autonomous against all the transportation, all that media. It is relatively, there is a ton of hate, but actually relatively, it's actually compared to the change. I like the way you said that. So it's one thing about Tesla Q, right? It's another thing about just bulls, Tesla bulls, and then there's retail investors, and then there's institutionals. And even way back in 2020, you were the very first retail investor to join a Tesla earnings call. Elon called on you. And the reason he did that was because he was just so sick and tired of the dumb questions that he kept getting asked. And it was, he got hit hard on it because he was just so like, you go listen to you were there, of course, and you've got the recordings, but yeah, he was like exasperated with this dumbest questions. And then he said, let's go to retail. And you were there. Tell us how that happened. But I want you to share a little bit of the retail investor, whether or not we as a community actually have it right, which of course we think we do. Then there's the institutionals who think that they are still the old guard. They know what they're doing. And we're like, no, but tell us about that earnings call first.
Well, first of all, you make me think of there's a big difference between retail and institutions. And I think it carries out to the earnings call of like this idea that I work for a bank and that's why I'm here today versus like, this is my money that I work for and I want to take an ownership in this company. That's Tesla. So that is a night and day difference. And that's why I love retail shareholders. And I went to school for finance and was just super like uninspired. Like went to NYU and it was like, I was obsessed with Tesla. There was a professor called Aswath Damodaran or something like that. You could look him up. He's the god of valuation and like was hating on Tesla the whole time I was in school at the equivalent of like $2 a share now, like over 100 bagger cents. And he's the god of valuation. And it's like, nothing is different. The DCF says Tesla will this, car companies can never scale. Like just this in a box thinking. First of all, anybody who works for a bank or is a professor at a school or a journalist that's in finance isn't smart. If you're actually good at the financial markets, you will be in the financial markets. Like you should be rich if you're actually good at it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have to work for people by managing their money and doing all that, like you actually haven't made it. So are you really killing it? Like you got to wear a suit every day that's super uncomfy and show up at 9 a.m. because you got people, I don't know how dope you are. So anyway, that's a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but I went through school the whole time. Everyone was hating on Bitcoin, hating on Tesla, my two favorite investments. And I just felt like Wall Street was like a symbol of that. Like you hear the analysis on the Tesla call and it might as well be the NYU people. It's like these people who, went to NYU, they wanted a fancy job. They're working for whatever bank, Barclays. They don't give a shit about Tesla. They're trying to get drunk at happy hour, but they got to clock in with this DCF. They don't know what to put in slide 3. So they got on the conference call and they're like, Elon, what do I put in slide 3 for the CapEx next quarter? It's like, dude, this is such a waste of time for the world's smartest dude. You guys have no give a shits about the future of Tesla. You get driven around in a fancy car in New York City. You've never even driven a car or bought a car. So you don't even know anything about the car industry. And you're telling me Tesla sucks. So that was kind of the era I grew up in. And anyway, long story short about the Tesla earnings calls, I basically started blogging on Seeking Alpha, started making YouTube videos, basically being like CNBC sucks. I'm going to make the show I want to watch, which is people talking honestly about their investments. That's what I did. Like been following Warren Buffett, love investing, doing my portfolio forever, started just making content about it. And then found Tesla and was like, this is applying Warren Buffett's value investing to the hyperchange era. Yes, it's not on the financial statement. It's not on the balance sheet. It's not on the income statement, but the value that Tesla's battery technologies has to me is going to change all of transportation. So it's not about the Model S. It's about the cars they're putting out that are much cheaper beyond that. But they're doing the work today for those cars. So there was a lot of value with Tesla, but it wasn't in the financial statements. But I applied that thinking of Warren Buffett's value investing to Tesla, but with this lens of like, we're in the hyper growth era, hyperchange. Companies are growing faster than ever. Technology is creating this opportunity to reinvent industries to be more sustainable. Bam, Tesla like falls in my lap as like, we're inventing this incredible industry. 2013, I was in college and I called up the head of investor relations at the time of Tesla, Jeff Evanson. I finally get a call. I'm like, I'm doing a report for my NYU thing. Like, I want to talk about Tesla. They're my favorite investment. Market cap's $3 billion. I was like, so blah, 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 you're competing with Ford. And I asked him all these questions. And I just remember one thing he told me. He's like, we're going to be the biggest car company in America. And he kind of like ended the call and that was it. And he was like, I don't have wait. Like, we don't even have time for this. Like, we're going to be the world like biggest car company. And at the time that was like absurd to say.
Mhm.
So I fell in love with Tesla, and I was like, you're telling me that I'm a climate change tree hugger, and there's this company that Wall Street everyone thinks is dumb, but is going to create this sexy car. That's the product. Like, this is so fun to analyze and work with. Like, I want a cool car. So anyway, started following Tesla, putting out a bunch of content. A bunch of people on my YouTube channel were commenting. We'd always roast the analyst questions because I'd make a video, and we'd always roast like, what did Adam Jonas ask about Starlink, you know?
Yeah.
And then basically eventually got in touch with Tesla and was like, hey, like, all my people watching my YouTube channel, we all have questions, and together we have like 100 million shares, which is as much as this bozo from whatever research who doesn't even care about your company. This is literally our like life savings are all in your company, and we actually have hella good questions to ask. And so that's how one thing led to another. And then no one was going to let me do it except Elon Musk himself was like, okay, this is a good idea. And so that's why they let me do it. But every layer of like lawyers, Tesla's investor relations at the time, all were like, no, Gali, this isn't going to happen. And then Elon tweets, okay, we'll have you on. And they're all like, okay, well, Elon tweeted it, so we'll let you on. And then, yeah, I don't know if that's too much context, but
no, this is exactly this is. It was iconic. It was legendary for Tesla retail investors. So it's fun to go back and understand that. First of all, I am a big fan of Hyperchange. This is a brand that you've created, a financial talk show, this podcast, a YouTube channel. You can tell from the words you're using right now, you get it. In this Hyperchange era, things are different. And that's why you think differently. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is like one of the things you're really good at is you call it scheming, a little funny, but in fact, it's like coming up with the big ideas of what's next. And you're always thinking about what's the big idea. And you've hit on a few already. So I want to go through some of these with you. But boy, yeah. So just any other, before we move on, retail versus institutional today. So that was back then. Have institutionals changed at all since 2020? Today, 2025, we're seeing upgrades by $150. It's ridiculous because the stock run up to 420, 440. They're just jumping that. Are they still just chasing? Or now we're hearing them refer to Tesla as an energy company, as an autonomy company, and a few of them are starting to call it a robot company. Oh my gosh, can you believe that? Yeah.
I mean, the problem is listening to what the Wall Street analysts say about companies is like in today's era is like getting the yellow pages to try and find a new restaurant today. It's like, no, you got to be on Instagram. Like you got to so I think institutions have been slower to die than I would expect, but also retail's been blossomed a lot more than I would imagine since the Tesla call. Like now there's tons of companies get questions from retail investors on conference calls because Say Technologies, company that I worked with, and then they actually sold to Robinhood, and Tesla used them for earnings calls. Now a ton of other people use them for earnings calls. So retail is making a movement. Then you have people like Amit who are leading shareholder communities for Robinhood, for Palantir, and these stocks are outperforming every hedge fund, every money manager. No smart guy on Wall Street is calling this. Amit is the leader of that. Then you have people and there's like guys like Arnie, and then there's the lemonade people. Like I just had paper bag investors. So you're seeing these really interesting movements pop up of new retail investors, kind of like what happened with Tesla, but in their own way. And to me, that is the future of what is happening. And in many ways, the Tesla thing is more important than ever because we got this big shareholder vote coming up, which you and Alexandra and the Cyber Bulls have been crushing it, getting the word out, talking about it. But this is as much a topic as ever. Is retail, the governance of these companies is so important, and retail investors are a huge and growing piece of that governance. So
yeah, that's very good. I mean, I guess, would you give Elon the credit, or somehow just Tesla did it that grew a retail community? Because now, as you're saying, if you're a company out there and you're publicly traded, you better have a community, a retail community that is acting on your behalf, supporting you, because it's so critical. This is the way the world works today, right? The grounds up, individuals all hanging together and educating each other, but also rising up. Yeah. Do you think Elon, or how did this Tesla retail community even form in the first place?
I think it's definitely all Elon leading in because frankly, no other CEO had like the bravery or courage to go against all of Wall Street and actually have an original idea and be like, wait, there's tens of thousands of people who literally put their money into my company. Maybe I should interact with them. But like Elon actually just, that's another reason why I really respect Elon. Like it's so much deeper than all this other stuff people realize. It's like, well, I was talking about all, like Elon actually listened to me. Like he took a step back and was like, wait, like there's a ton of people with good ideas. Let's, just because they're different than the people supposed to have good ideas doesn't mean they don't have good ideas. So you see a little bit of Elon's first principles thinking there of like, wait, retail investors could be a huge asset for us. And now they continue to be a huge asset because you have these dumb institutions who don't want to pay Elon for all the value he's generated for them. They're so greedy. They're run by bureaucracies. You know, you got one or two woke people in the boardroom who are talking about CEO pay and Elon, blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, they're getting rich off the money Elon's earned them without even, my disdain for those people is so high. So, I think it's there's a lot brewing here because who controls technology? Companies control technologies. Companies are becoming more powerful than nation states. So a nation state is an equal vote among all these people, or maybe it's just a couple corrupt leaders leading it probably, but a company is a true now democracy. So shareholder governance and corporate governance is so important. And so I think this whole like retail investor movement to me is it's about controlling the future of technology. Who controls it really? Which gets pretty deep and scary once you get into AI. But that's why I think it's an exciting movement.
Oh, wow. You're explaining that really, really well. So one of the big ideas that I don't know if everybody realizes this because it's been a while, but you were the person that asked Elon and you said, hey, can Tesla invest $5 billion into XAI? You said that back in July 2024. He replied to you, said, interesting, which implies that he hadn't actually thought about, I don't know, you never know with Elon, but he said interesting. So
I think he needed someone else to say it because he's conflicted. So he wanted it to bubble up. So I took that on and was like, this is a good idea. But I don't know. I think it has potential.
No, for sure. No, but I'm glad that, so you did that in July 2024. Now here we are in 2025, and it's on the shareholder meeting proposal. Obviously, a lot of great work from Alexandra and a lot of other people to carry on the torch to make it there. But you were the first to spark the idea. So tell me about your thesis of how are you going to vote, and on that proposal, and why do you think Tesla should invest in XAI? I can give you the quick reason why some people say, why should you? Tesla has all the AI that you need. In fact, Tesla has real world data that all the other AI companies need out there. Whether you're an LLM or now an MMM, a multimodal model company, you need real world data that only Tesla has from the cars, from the bots. Shortly, no one else has that. That will get you to true AGI. And Tesla has their own AI. They can create their own brains of Optimus. You don't need to outsource Grok from XAI. You can create themselves. And it's too expensive at this point,
So that's the case of why they shouldn't. A lot to cover here. I mean, XAI shouldn't exist, first of all, because the only reason XAI exists, in my opinion, is partially because of this Delaware judge who stripped back the shareholder votes, is messing with our shareholder votes. So now Elon Musk and everyone who owns Tesla may not really control Tesla because of the courts. That's a huge, so if like what I'm talking about, developing all these crazy technologies, why would you develop a technology in a company you may not control? It's the dumbest idea ever. So for the most valuable technology in the history of humanity, artificial intelligence, Elon Musk needs to recruit the best engineers in the world. So he wants to incentivize them in a new company, not joining Tesla when it's already at $1 trillion, join it when we're smaller, get more upside equity. Makes sense. And then I don't know. So part of me is just, it's weird to see all these companies pop up in all the ways they do. Because I think the Delaware judge definitely had an impact on how this XAI thing was created. But the bottom line is, this AI thing is real. Elon helped create OpenAI. He knows what he's doing here. So if they say XAI is founded in 2022, kind of, but he's been working on this problem for a decade before this. You have the smartest engineers build, and when you really boil it down to, I'm like, yes, it could have been within Tesla. Elon Musk has said that, but it is also very different than Tesla. It's an app. software. It's your personal imaginary friend. Totally new market. But when you think about where Tesla's going with having your own C3PO, that brain of that C3PO for Optimus is going to have to talk to you, and that will be Grok. So it's weird that the brain of Optimus is almost XAI. So there's so many links between these companies and overlap. And I personally just wanted Tesla to control we can't invest in XAI, even if we wanted to. It's a private company. You got to be the who's who to try and invest in XAI. So I thought it was unfair, not unfair, but just a little bit lame. And just like, well, Tesla's got a bunch of money we're not using. Why don't we invest in XAI? If we can't start XAI within us, let's at least give them a little bit of money, which I think was a better idea then, because we could have bought 20% of the company. Now we invest $5 billion, we're buying like 2% of the company or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit, we could have owned a controlling or big stake in XAI, which would have been very, very valuable. Could have already been worth 100 billion or whatever, 20, 50 billion. But so now I'm trying to think through that part of it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think there's a lot of product synergies between Tesla and XAI. Tesla has 30 billion on its balance sheet. Unless we need to spend all that money to train Optimus, I don't think so, especially with the money we make from our operations. So we have extra money. I don't know. I love investing in Elon. I think there's so much overlap. I think the risk is super low. The reward is massive. It locks up this partnership between Tesla and XAI.
That's the one. Yeah.
It makes Tesla's perception as the AI company stronger. So I'm voting. I already voted for it in one of my accounts. Need to vote in another one, but I'm voting for it for sure. So I hope you're with me, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
I'm all in on investing in XAI. I've been talking about it for a long time. Alexander and I, big on investing on becoming the largest supercomputer in the world. We thought Tesla should have put in 10 billion earlier, but they did. No worries. Tesla is not that far behind creating supercomputers. AI, as you said, is just the beginning. We're talking AGI. We're talking the ability to create new technologies, new elements, new steel, whatever, right? Take a look at your business process and completely optimize it to spit out, double the number of cybercabs per line. It's going to impact everything. And so why are we being, you've got to own something like this. XAI already exists now. And for me, I know it's heresy, but it doesn't matter to me what the price is. Like my point being that the potential where this is going to go is so giant that we're still at the early days. It would have been nice if we put in 5 billion at 2024, but it didn't happen. And now we're here. We should put in something. And then I think the biggest thing was to solidify it. Now, the argument though, is that Tesla should not have to give money to XAI. XAI will want cash. Tesla should not give it because Tesla, I've been calling them the kingmaker. Tesla's data itself is so valuable. It is so valuable. If they decided, Tesla, that we're not going to invest in XAI, and they said, I'll name Perplexity, whatever, right? Some other company. That company automatically becomes the AGI winner because of all the data and servers that Tesla has to support that. So I just, I think that you don't underestimate how much power Tesla has to make a company successful. But XAI and Tesla together are bigger and better than any other competitor out there. XAI by themselves or Tesla by themselves, yes, Tesla can do this on their own, but you will just accelerate everything. And you explained that very well too.
And that's an interesting thing of where the value is going to accrue in the humanoid robot race. It's like, okay, well, how much does Google pay to Apple to be the default search engine or something? Like so much money. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure maybe it's, but I'm thinking plus, who wouldn't bid to be the brain of Optimus? It's like, You know what? Guess what? Probably for 95% of the stuff you want to do or 98% of the stuff you want to do, an open source AI model that's not even that good will be fine. Like I wake up and it's like, oh, what will Gali want today? Probably tea because he wanted tea every day. I'll just ask him if he wants to make tea. Like we don't need like 100 million NVIDIAs in the world's most cutting edge model to figure that out. So who's really going to have the moat is Tesla and Optimus and saying, well, who wants to be the brain of Optimus in 30 million robots worldwide instantly? And you might have to pay a lot for that. Right. So maybe that's an interest. I like the theory of like Grok should be paying Tesla because Tesla's got the stuff. I like that angle, but
kingmaker. Yeah.
I think it's deeper than that because at the same time, Grok is spending not just our money, but all these other billions and soon hundreds of billions to develop their model. And now Tesla can just tap in that model into Optimus, and we didn't have to spend any hundreds of billions, and we get the best model in our robot. So that actually
That's
can
my
be a win
point.
for us too.
Okay. So that was one of your big ideas that actually Elon liked, and it's actually potentially happening. That was cool. You've had a few others. Oh, what's this one? Semi and Roadster battery tech. You're nearly the first to ask if the Semi Roadster would use linear battery improvements or a new platform. Elon confirmed 500-mile range of it's achievable even without advancements. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that was on the earnings call. That was funny.
You asked about batteries on Semi and Roadster. Yeah.
I think that's in the 2018 earnings call. Yeah.
Okay. Why was I saying 2020? Okay.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong.
Wow. No, you're right. The Q1 2018 earnings call was when you did that. Okay. What other ideas do you have at this point? Because you're love to scheme as your own term. What are the other big suggestions you have for Tesla? Oh, so we can talk about the merging of all companies into one.
Yeah.
Was that a Dave Lee idea, or was that yours?
That was that was the Dave Lee idea, the merging the companies into one. I mean, the problem is right now we're at it's kind of a mess between Elon's companies. Like, I think sometimes we think he has some master plan, or like there's some like overarching vision that's going to tie into a bow perfectly, like a Disney movie that we're all a part of. But it's like, it's not going to be like that. It's like, no, it's just getting more complicated and messy by the day. First, we got to spin up Starlink, then we're going to spin that out in IPO. That's not actually a good idea. Now we're starting a whole new company, XAI. We're going to merge that with X because blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it's a mess. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was never a fan of this idea of merging everything into one.
Like,
he already said it's not going to happen.
It's cool on paper, but I don't think practically it's a very hard thing to achieve. And the sad reality is, like, governments and people would just revolt against that. It's like, okay, now there's one corporation that's by far the largest in the entire universe, and it's controlled by Elon Musk, who has sole control over it. And it has 8 billion users or whatever. And it's like, that would be crazy. But that's where we're heading. I think that's actually the biggest bear case amount that I have on Tesla is, like, you have the Pope saying Elon's too rich or whatever. It's like, dude, we are in uncharted territory. No one's playing out where this goes. Okay, so Tesla's now worth 100 trillion because they've commercialized Optimus. It's like, okay, like, everyone's out of a job. All these other companies fail. It's either like you invested in Elon Musk and were smart about it, or you are just in the dust of the future and you haven't been able to adapt. So I worry that could have significant social pushback because I don't know. I just think we're headed into very crazy uncharted waters. And I keep thinking of, like, Elon was broke and couldn't get enough money and was always on a shoestring budget till 5 years ago. Now he's actually got unlimited money. So we are just getting to, like, the fun part of his empire. And it's good for him that none of his companies besides Tesla are public, because if they were, he'd be worth $1 trillion already, because they would be floating at much higher multiples. And then he'd be even more hated by whatever people hate him for. So it's it'll be interesting. Like, I don't think, what do you think? We have Elon Musk. He's going to be too powerful. He's going to have created too much.
Yeah, no. Exactly. No, this is zero. The benefits are minimal. I don't even know what the benefits are, because today you already have the cross-pollination. You already have the partnerships. You get the best of what you need from each groups. Starlink will provide the internet access for all the bots, all the cars. There should be investments into each other, but you don't need to have this one entity. What's the point? There's no necessary, not necessary. You know what's interesting is this moment in time where we're at today, right? It's like we're at the brink of, we're not really at the brink anymore. It's solved. Autonomy is solved. You and I know that. But so many other people and investors don't realize it yet, what we know. And many of the audience here knows, because we're all driving FSD version 13, 14 is out. Everybody's going to be using that soon. You know what I mean? Like, it's like everything we were asking for. One day, autonomy, there'll be a robotaxi. And we're like, really? There'll be a robotaxi program. It's here. There is already, right? One day there's going to be a bot. But, look, we saw this clunky bot. Now it's actually working, and we're going to see the Gen 3 version of it, right? One day they're all there. Now imagine when all of these things that, Starlink, one day there'll be all these thousands of cars, and then the bandwidth is just skyrocketing now. So everything that he's working on, right? Starship, everything, it's all at their maturity, the beginnings of the maturity. Like at least they're there versus just ideas. What does that mean now for everything? Because everything it's like this hyper exchange exponential where we're at. Before it was just ideas still, right?
Yeah. Wait, so what's the question? Where are we at?
I mean, like just the acknowledgement that today is just the moment when everything's going to now help each other be successful.
Yeah.
Than it was just a few years ago when we were just still hoping for stories.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it's inevitable now. And where my brain was going to it was like, yeah, just the amount of, I don't know, like the system of governments taking resources from people and allocating them is broken. Like where we've seen with Elon's foray into politics and kind of getting disheartened, like whether you're Republican or Democrat, if you wanted someone to waste your money, you'd first pick would probably be a politician if you wanted to give someone money and get nothing done. Like, and so what's weird and where my brain goes to all this is like, Elon is really setting the pieces up to be uncontrollable by a government in some ways and creating the potential for a new society with a lot less waste and a lot more efficient laws, a lot more efficient everything. And that's kind of a very, very big thing when you think about Elon Musk has disrupted everything, but except for really government. And that's what's going to happen on Mars, I think, is then we're going to have sort of an America 2.0 built on Mars. And so that's what I see with all these crazy puzzle pieces Elon's putting together. It's like that's kind of the final play, is a new sort of recipe for democracy and disrupting what government is itself. And he's just kind of laying low, accumulating more power and resources, downplaying their potential. We see it. But many people, Starlink was, it's just for like random little things when you're in the middle of nowhere. It won't really be good for this or won't really be good for that. And it's like the more Starlink expands, it's like, no. This is like an unstoppable communication network for like all of space that no government can stop. So, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting a little carried away there, but
yeah, you're jumping too far in the future. But yes, you should be, because we're very close to that. The reason why things are happening. I'm still at the point where, he needs to build the largest AI data centers. Now, luckily, he's got 3 factories pumping out megapacks and now mega blocks. Just at their time when they're about to accelerate. How many factories they can build and how many megapacks they can build. They've perfected that. Everything that we're talking about is almost at the Gen 3 already. And that's when things start to really, help each other grow. Oh, man. Good.
I like what you said about the Gen 3 providing, because I remember this saying from Elon that's like Ford and GM are on like their 100th iteration of their car. Like they keep building the same car every year, making it a little bit better. It's like with Model S, he's like, we're on our second. Like, and we're making it so much better, but it's like the second. And so I feel like that's a great analogy of like, you've seen that happen with Starlink, with Neuralink, with everything. And I think we've seen so many 0 to 1 moments with Elon and his empire. Now it's about 1 to N.
There you go. That's the killer.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the killer. That's the killer statement from you. Love it.
Yeah.
It's no longer just 0 to 1. We're now 1 to N. That's where we're going.
1 to N.
1 to N.
And N's going to be huge. Big number. We don't know what it is, but big number.
So we're videotaping this on a Monday, and we'll publish this on a Thursday. We don't know, but maybe the Roadster, and this is, what is it, the 3rd generation Roadster, 2nd generation Roadster? Well, this one's going to fly. You know what I mean? Like, oh, God.
Well, what do you think, Herbert, now that we're in the past, in the future right now? What do you think is going to come out? Because we've seen this crazy teaser. I personally think it's just going to be a cheaper Model Y, and which is great, like a cheaper, some sort of cheaper vehicles, and that'll be a big needle mover. But it's not the Roadster. That's my
let's not spend too much time on it, because we were recording on a Monday. Well, they'll find out on a Tuesday. We'll publish this on a Thursday.
It'll be funny to be like, how wrong or right was Herbert?
It's a model. It's a wronger with Herbert. Jeez, love it. You gotta always roast me, right? You gotta get away with the roast of me. It is, it's going to be cheap, but more affordable vehicles. I think it's a Model 3, Model Y, more affordable vehicles. That's what this is. And we saw hubcaps, and that's what's going to be revealed. And then I've already been sharing this one of my viewers gave a great thesis, a good theory that I loved, which is he was saying that it's not about the price. This could be priced high. It could be $37,000, whatever. What matters is the lease. They'll price the lease at $200 per month. When it comes off lease, Tesla owns the car and they'll put it into the robotaxi. So in fact, they're trying to discourage you from buying this car. And that's why they don't include any of the things that allow it to become a robotaxi at the beginning, like a rear screen, all that. They'll put that in once they re-own the car.
Ooh. So I actually have one idea to end this on, Herbert, which I think is a big conclusion I've been coming to with Tesla. Like I was just traveling, got back to my Model Y with FSD. Like I cannot live without FSD. Like I don't have version 14. I have version 12.6.4 in my 2020 Model Y with old hardware 2 generations ago, but I cannot not live with it. I will only buy Teslas. Everyone around me is, no matter their political affiliation, is like, whoa, like this is insane. I want a Tesla. So I think that is a very powerful demand driver for Tesla for the next year or two. It's like robotaxi this, Optimus that. It's like, no. The story is FSD is so good. That's going to drive demand sales. And we just had the best quarter in Tesla history. Those are all people with brand new Teslas with FSD telling all their homies how great it is. So I think there's a very big, powerful grassroots effect right now, which is like FSD is so good. It is so underpriced. Tesla's value for what you get with the car is so much better than every car out there. And that's today without them releasing anything new. So I think that just plays out and Tesla crushes it just based on that alone. And then Cybercab goes.
Yeah. Oh man. So you've been scheming about what new businesses. So one thing I've been repeating often here is that people think Tesla, and they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, should I invest in Tesla or not?" Well, okay, they're a car company, they're an energy company, they're robotaxi and they're autonomy or robots. But they think that that's it. Their mind sticks to that, and they go, "Well, 2030 and 2035. Here's what my model says." How come they don't realize? No, Tesla's a disruptive tech company. And every 2 years, they roll out a brand new business that you would never have expected that they were getting into. And so the most obvious ideas is HVAC for the home, right? There could be an energy generation like solar, and they could be selling AI data warehouses, and then they could be selling food. I think it's going to get in food because that's one thing missing in the Mars trajectory. They need to be able to create food somewhere. And drones, these kind of things. What do you think? What do you think the next new business Tesla might get into?
Well, I think everything that's a robot is a very obvious choice because they're into robots that move. So if it's a different shaped looking, the car, the Optimus, if it's a drone, if it's things that move, I think are good. Or I guess things that are stationary like utilities like Megapack and then HVAC is lumped into that. I think that has big potential. But I really like what you said with food. I've always been obsessed with food. I've done hydroponic, aquaponics. I love tea. I love farming. I'm super into organic, artisanal food. And the biggest thing that drew me to Tesla is the same thing that fascinates me with the food system right now. The bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. Fixing all of transportation was a massive opportunity for Tesla. Food right now, I would say 99% of the meals taking place right now for lunch are like bad for you in America.
Right.
The wealthiest, best country in the world. It's like we're eating like just the more, and I'm trying to launch my tea company now, and I worked in food for a little. Like the more you learn about food, it's like so crappy. So many corners are cut. So sketchy. So shitty. And it's such a supply chain of crappy connections. What it really is going to take is vertical integration, the Tesla approach to change it. So that to me is something that no one's ever talked about. And I don't think they'll do because I feel like Elon's just not that passionate about it. Like he would just like have a tube of Soylent in him.
Let me counter that.
Maybe not because Mars, but also it's like, do they care about eating gourmet on Mars, or are these just a bunch of like explorers and it's like going to the Arctic and you're going to be living on like, shriveled, dehydrated mango pulp for a couple years. But anyway, I don't know. But I love this idea of Tesla disrupting food because that gets me.
I think so. I think they will. And the reason is, remember just a couple of years ago, there was that big hoo-ha about world hunger, and Elon was deep into that, and he just kept repeating several times, right? He said there's no caloric deficit which means that it's not that we don't make enough food, it's that it's not being distributed to the right places. And then he was making this whole thing about world hunger. We can give you money. Somebody said, who was it? The World Hunger nonprofit guy said, why are you spending your money? You should give us $5 billion. And he goes, okay, I'll give you $5 billion. Show me what you're going to do with it. Because he can't do anything with it, because it's not the issue of creating more food. It's delivering, and then all the, the corruption that happens. I think he's going to create a distributed model of food at source where you're living, and then be able to create something from your own home or something like that, locally sourced. That's why they're maybe playing with the Tesla diner. I don't know. That might be a little stretch, but
so it's a distribution problem with food.
Yeah.
But it's also, what is the biggest cost of food? Like, I've been looking into my tea farm thing, right?
Yes.
And I'm sourcing herbs. Why is no one buying chamomile in the United States? Why is they buying it in Albania? Well, because labor's like 1/10 the cost, and that's the biggest input, is how do I harvest my chamomile? So that's why I'm scheming on farming and buying land personally, because that's layer 2 of this disruption. Is now all of a sudden Optimus is my farmer. The biggest cost of food, the biggest problem with food, the biggest reason why no new farms start up is they can't get good, cheap labor. So what is that Optimus doing? Backbreaking, boring labor. Literally a farmer. Optimus is the new farmer. That's, to me, the most exciting job that Optimus is going to have. That's why I want Optimus, is to farm and grow all my own food and be able to teleport to all my farms in the world. So I like what you're saying about this, because it's like, A, he's solving distribution with Cybercab. B, he solves labor with Optimus. Those are the two biggest problems with food. You're getting me hyped right now.
Oh, I think so.
I mean, I got till Thursday to buy some land before this comes out.
Yeah, by Thursday it's going to come out. No. Okay, hyper change, but we're not quite at ridiculous or ludicrous change yet. We're not at ludicrous change yet.
Yeah. No, but I love your idea there, Herbert. That's a good
one. I think there's many more, right? That's just one idea. There's going to be other, especially when Tesla's already basically, end to one in everything: energy, autonomy, robots. And maybe not robots. Maybe it's still a 0 to 1 for robots, but you're that close. Everything that they're touching is end to one. Factories, right? Factories is a product. How many factories can they build? Megapack factories. They're already there. And so then this allows for any crazy idea that Elon has. Drones. Boom. SpaceX, Starlink, Tesla get together in a little room, create us the smartest, first principles drones ever, and then boom, they're in that game. Then they can mass produce it, automate it easily, whatever business they want to get into. So there is no doubt. That's why I'm investing in Tesla, because it's a disruptive tech company, not a car company. That's just how it started. The first form, the first form was an electric vehicle company. It could have been anything, really, because he's a software engineer by heart, right?
And I like what you're saying here, because it's almost like you can't put Tesla in a box. And that's been the mistake of people, is they try and put Tesla in a box and it constantly gets out of it. So I think the whole conversation we've been having with retail versus Wall Street, that's retail versus institution, YouTubers versus Wall Street. It's the same thing. It's who puts it in a box and who's looking outside of the box. And so, and you can't put Elon Musk's next invention into a spreadsheet. So that breaks Wall Street. But, and so, and that's the biggest lesson I've learned on Tesla, and in many ways have been so lucky that it wasn't Elon just building the electric car and saying, I'm done with it. It's like Elon is literally different than everyone else and is willing to put these new schemes into the bucket, which is why it's so important that he controls that bucket. And November 6th, we get him elected, because I think we've just done a good job of unpacking what makes Tesla special, and that's it.
What's your plan next? So you got Hyperchange. You're rebooting that talk show, and I've seen that you're pumping out many more YouTube shows. You're back into the game. Then you've got the tea company. Can you explain a little bit more what your plans are? You're going to buy a farm? My gosh.
Well,
Hyperchange with Gali.
No, I love this. I love scheming. So, so I did the VC thing for 3 years and then now I'm coming back to do a little. I want to get back into making content. But I'm also been working on my tea company. I mean, I'm drinking tea right now, which is just kind of like a fun project of launching the tea blends that I love, of super fancy ingredients, and being able to share them. So I'm trying to, I'm trying to figure out my new thing, honestly, because I feel like there's so many ways to go. my scheme is kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to sell my Tesla stock or my Bitcoin. So maybe I should figure out some way to make money in the interim. But also, the whole playbook's getting rewritten on how to build businesses, how to do things. AI is the co-founder of my tea business. There's no way I'd be doing my tea business if I didn't have AI. Like, it's helping me with blend. It's helping me figure out how to launch a food company in America with all the guidelines and all the BS. And so I think we're at such a cool new chapter of like, of take what you want in the economy, and there's so much excitement and potential with AI for everyone saying it's disruption, jobs are being lost. I'm seeing the flip side of like, whoa, there's so much opportunity. Like even just land. My friends and I bought this piece of land, Bastrop, Texas. I think it's going to be a new Silicon Valley right outside of Austin, where Elon's building all this stuff. Are we going to be able to figure out how to buy real estate, three dopey bros, without ChatGPT? No chance. But all of a sudden, we're 10 moves ahead of our broker because we're using ChatGPT to help us be real estate moguls. So I think there's like layers to how, like, I'm already thinking of like, okay, investing and buying and holding Tesla is fun. That's going to be a great investment. But what's layer two? Is it now I can buy Optimus and deploy them? And now I'm not thinking about Tesla as the stock. I'm thinking about Tesla as a company that's going to sell products for me to put CapEx into to buy robots for my own schemes. Like now's the time to build the future, get creative. Like what do you want the future to look like? Now you can actually build it. So that's for me getting me so inspired. Like I've always had this dream of farming. I've always wanted to do that, but I've never really been able to like it just felt like there was always something missing. And then when Optimus came out, it was like, oh, like I'm going to start buying land and then I'm going to buy Optimus. And I'm already working with ChatGPT on how the soil is, what I need to grow.
Funny, isn't it? Yeah. So first of all, I think you're doing the right thing. I absolutely agree with you. So first of all, your tea brand is called Galileo
Tea.
tea.
Launching soon, not officially launched yet.
Okay, great brand. Love the idea. Think it's going to be successful. The reason why I love the idea, what you're talking about, is that the world has flipped back, isn't it? Like, so we moved into this world where unless you're creating software, unless you're creating subscription business, a software business, some sort of, e-commerce or, software business, or apps, the app economy. That was the thing. Okay. But now AI is going to swipe all that out. So do not start an app company is what, the big suggestions are. But you go back to creating physical products like a tea brand or a farm. And then, hire the bot, hire the AI to help that physical thing. But that's going to be the last thing that can be replaced, I think, right? You owning a business that is physical or a product that you stand. So we're back to that business, I think.
And you know what I'm realizing is the secret ingredient to making AI great? It's you. It's your idea. The AI is nothing without you. You have to tell it, I have this big scheme. Like, we're going to take over. This is our scheme. Man. You help me do it.
That's just today. Eventually, you can ask AI to scour all ideas out there, research all the opportunities, and go ahead and buy the land, buy the inventory, create the company, and just tell me what you did afterwards.
I think maybe, but I actually think AI is an amplification of your own power. So if you tell two people to solve the same problem with the same AI, one is going to crush the other because they're going to be more curious. They're going to engage with the AI more. They're going to pull more out of it. If you just go, how hot is it today? Or you go, it's feeling a little warmer than usual. I noticed that the dew was sitting on the grass, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, so that's the more I've played with AI, the more I'm realizing it's like anybody could be coming up with a dope tea company, but it's not about, you got to be like, wait, what's the number 2 beverage that people have been drinking of most? How is it not production hasn't changed on tea in thousands of years, but everyone's still drinking it because it's good? What if we made it even better? Then we could be this, but no one smart's focused on it. Cheap real estate that is rainy, that has a bunch of trees that everyone hates is actually the asset we need to grow it. And now it's on sale for pennies on the dollar. Like maybe AI would tell you all this, but I feel like you got to I don't know. It's kind of my scheme now is it's like, anything's for the taking for ambitious entrepreneurs.
Good thing that you're young. I'm young. We're both young.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch though. I'm pumped.
Relatively, dude. With longevity and everything, I'll be 250 years old. You're going to be 230 years old. And we're going, you're old, dude.
What's Elon coming up with next?
I'll meet you there. Oh, man, that's crazy. I love to scheme with you. I'd love to be in the future with you, and I feel like I already am. And you were, early on identifying the hyperchange era and specifically how it applies to financials and stock. You've called it right. You certainly called Tesla right, and you're one of the leaders in the community. So we appreciate you. Glad that you're coming back. Hopefully we can do more shows together, and appreciate you. Thank you. So people can find you. What's your website? It's still Hyperchange?
Yeah, my YouTube, if you search Hyperchange on YouTube, or G Filchi is my X handle. So I post everything on YouTube or on X.
On X. Yep. Perfect. Thank you so much, Gali.
Thank you, Herbert. This is a lot of fun. Love your show, and go Tesla.
Too. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.